Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Lead Loving Life podcast. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to have you join us for this episode. And if you're returning, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad you keep tuning in. This is episode 42, and I am going to be chatting with you today about comparison. It's something that we all face. It's something that we all are challenged by at different levels at different times in our lives, I believe. As women, it hits exceptionally hard because we tend to be hard on ourselves to begin with and have really high expectations of ourselves and others, especially high achieving women. I just returned from Dallas, Texas, where I attended the annual E-Women Icon Conference. And I had the privilege of sharing the main stage with a number of other women, most of which were much further ahead, if you will, in terms of business size and impact than myself. And what I know to be true, I've always known it. What I saw play out before me was that every single one of us has a story. We all have a reason, a deeply entrenched and impactful reason for doing what we do, for showing up how and where we show up. The stories were incredible and powerful and touching. And the way that the stories wove through what we all do in our businesses to make positive impact, just, it was so powerful. I am so grateful and humbled to have had the privilege to share the stage with such incredible women. And if you follow my socials, you will see that, if you haven't already, some pictures and things that I gathered during the incredible 4 days I was able to get to experience. So that really led me down kind of a path, if you will. Some might call it a rabbit hole. I don't know, in my own brain and in spirit, to talk about this subject of comparison. Because really, at the core of it, it is what happens, what we use as a mechanism to further judge ourselves. And it it taps on the expectations that we have of ourselves and compares the expectations of ourselves to others. And, you know, depending on where you are in your life, in your business, in your community leadership, it, I believe it ebbs and flows. I believe it's not a constant feeling, if you will. I know that with many of my clients, it can, be triggered by a certain situation or, just a low feeling in ourselves, right? And we all have those moments of feeling that way. And it's so important to just, take the time to reflect and realize that despite what we see, and, this is more relevant now than ever with AI at the forefront of so many things. What we see and what we hear, social media, podcasts, email newsletters, wherever we get our information, it is mostly highlight reels. It's often curated, very deeply. And I think in contrast to that, I think that many of us are really doubling down on being authentic and truthful and real and showing up that way on social media and our podcasts. And there are others that that's not the case. And it can be triggering for comparison issues, right? I know that most of you can understand and relate to this. And if you can't, I get that too. What I want my message to be today is don't compare yourself to others because you don't know what they've been through and they don't know what we've been through. And we could be in our chapter 5 when they are on their chapter 100 book 2. So it's really hard on our psyche, on our spirits to like bash ourselves on the head with this expectation of, my gosh, I'm so far behind. They are doing all of these things and they are making all this impact. Well, the truth of the matter is we all have a path. I believe that we're all on this journey for different reasons. And that means a number of things. It means the journey will take different amounts of time depending on who is on the journey. It will take different forms and shapes and ways of expression depending on who we are and what our purpose and what our vision and what our soul is here to speak into. And the other really, I don't know, I would even call it dangerous downside to all of this is if we let ourselves get too in our head about it or too comparative. I know that's kind of we've been talking about comparison, kind of an overstatement, but you know what I mean, right? It's like if we start feeling like, oh, we need to check ourselves against all of these other people or a particular person that's doing similar work or having a bigger impact than we want, and we want to know why, oftentimes that process tanks us. It tanks our energy. It brings us right down a spiral. And I know you know what we're talking about here. It doesn't have to be a deep, long-lasting spiral. It can be a short one, and it still causes us to either stop or backtrack down our path. It causes oftentimes a stagnation, a pause in who we know we are and who we know we are here to impact and how we know we are here to impact. We get stuck in that, well, I'm not as this as that person, and I'm not out front, I'm not this, I'm not doing all of these things, instead of really head down, taking aligned action every day towards our purpose, towards our vision, making sure that we're aligned with our values, making the changes, taking the steps, not looking at others and thinking we should have the same journey, thinking we should have the same perspective and the same presence on social media or podcast or YouTube or wherever we're looking at others. I just want us to remember that when we stagnate, when we slow down, when we doubt as we compare ourselves to others, or when we get into that self-doubt, no matter what the reason, we are denying people who need us, our energy, our services, just a kind word, an inspiration, a reminder. We're denying them of that every minute we delay, every post we put off because we don't feel good enough. We don't feel like the person that we just saw on Instagram or LinkedIn. It is a block that comes on your path that stops the forward momentum. So not only does it deny those of us who are out here waiting to hear from you and waiting to see you and waiting to engage with you and buy your product or services, it takes a while to regain that momentum, right? When we're sitting on our desk and we're trying to multitask and we go one direction and we come back and we have to remember, oh, what was I doing? where do I start from and then restart the process? You lose not only time, you lose energy, you lose focus, and that momentum has to restart. So I really want you to remember that you're here for a reason, a purpose, an impact, a connection, and every minute you spend comparing yourself to someone else and judging yourself as less than or unworthy, it causes you to stop. It costs you time, energy, and frankly, it's a real downer on your spirit and on your energy, right? And the people that want and need to see you and hear you are being denied every time you delay, every time you doubt. So do us a favor and do the best that you possibly can to stay out of that comparison mindset and that comparison energy. And I know it's not easy. I always work with my clients. It's just part of my framework in terms of our mindset, right? Mindset is so important. It is critical to everything that we do all day long, how we show up every day. And we all have negative thoughts. I mean, if you read the research, we have thousands and thousands of negative thoughts every day. It's how we process them and how we move through them that makes the difference. So I encourage you and I encourage my clients, and this is what I do, is when you have that negative thought, do not let it permeate your brain. So I'm asking you to interrupt that thought. This requires presence. You have to be present to know this and recognize it. And as soon as you recognize it, to interrupt that pattern. And I'm very visual, so if I'm having a negative thought, I redirect visually. I see myself in a place that I love, a beautiful place. I see myself on a stage. I see myself on a one-on-one session call with a client. I see myself having fun with my family. See myself having friends that we are doing something together and just having a great time. So I'm going to encourage you to do the redirect, whatever way makes sense. The visual one works for me. Repeating a mantra or a sentence that makes you know, okay, this is the indicator that I am shifting my pattern of thought. However it works for you, even if you need to record one on your phone as a voice memo and just play it when that happens. I am here with you on this journey. When I talk about these things, I don't talk about it from a place of this never happens to me. I talk about it from a perspective of this happens to me and this is how I navigate it. This happens to me, this happens to my clients, and this is how I facilitate a change in thinking in them, encourage them to think about something differently and give them tools to do so. I hope this message resonates with you even to the tiniest bit, because I know it is such a tough one for those of us out and about in the world and working in ways with other people that expose us to the opportunity to doubt ourselves. And there is so much of it out there. I know that. And I want you to know that it's in you. This vision, this goal, this purpose, this passion, this burning to make a difference, this burning to do what you do in your life, in your business, in your community. It's not there by accident. And comparison and the feeling of less than is your opportunity to level up. Level up your thinking, level up your energy, level up your presence. Do not let it stagnate you. Do not let it take you off your path. We need you. Don't deny us your voice, your impact, your process, your product, your service. I want you to remember that, please, next time you have any feelings of doubt or you slip into comparative mode. I want to thank you for joining us for this episode. I want you to know that I am always here cheering you on. You deserve a life you love. You deserve to lead a business you love. You deserve to lead a community you love. And that is my purpose, is to support you. If you don't already, please follow me on socials at Lead Loving Life. Email me anytime at leah@leadlovinglife.com. DM me at Instagram. Just know that I'm always here thinking of you, rooting for you, and cheering you on. Have an amazing day, my beautiful souls. Until next episode.